My name's Rachel, and I bought my first boat, and it ended up being uninsurable. Against the strong advice from my partner Jason, who's a commercial skipper, I went ahead and bought this sailboat. Can I sail? No. Does this boat have a ton of issues that I didn't know about? Yes. Was it a smart move? We'll see. We have both worked on super yachts in our past, although I not as long as Jason, and Jason's entire career is centred around boating. Oh, and he also owns a 5-metre trailer boat, which he bought during the COVID times, which we spent the last few years exploring the North Island of New Zealand on, and loving it. We started to entertain the idea of selling our home and living on a boat full time, but after a number of boat viewings and plenty of discussion, it was decided that this wasn't the right path for us. Fast forward, and I'm still eager to learn how to sail. After trying to gain experience through club racing, where you offer or pay to crew for captains who need a hand, opportunities were limited, and it soon became clear, or so I thought, that the best way to learn was to buy a small sailboat and just figure it out. After viewing a few options, I found one that was described as tidy and ready to go. Since Jason had fairly recently renovated his house and his trailer boat, the last thing I wanted to do was to add another big renovation project to the list. So given the reassurance that this vessel wouldn't be that, I made a full price offer and decided to trust the process. Trust the process. Unfortunately, once I'd bought the boat, it quickly became clear that tidy and ready to go were far from accurate descriptions. To name a few of the issues, though this is far from the full list, the engine was intermittently working, tied down to its bay with just rope. The electrics were completely shot, with nothing hooked up, or at all. After much investigation into a consistent water source in the bilge, we discovered that the 120-litre freshwater tank was surprised, not hooked up to anything, but also leaking. The toilet was broken, the oven wasn't working or even hooked up to the gas, and every time it rained, water leaked through almost every exterior attachment, saturating the interior furnishings. So here she is, the relationship stress test. I'd compare her to a rescue animal. You're just trying to help, but all it does is bite you. Every job turns into 2 more. Every step forward seems to be followed by 1 or 2 steps backwards, and all of our spare time is consumed by fixing her. Although from what I hear, this is what owning a boat is. She's a Compass 790 40-year-old fiberglass sailboat. She can sleep 6 people, although one of those would probably need to be folded in half, and she's berthed in a tidal marina in brackish water. First job, cry a lot. Get told off for buying a terrible boat, cry some more. Feel completely overwhelmed, get told off again for buying it, and then finally make a start. Our first real job was to empty the boat to see the real state of things. It was like a TARDIS inside. It reeked of engine fuels, an old boat, the interior is coated in black mould, and most of the squabs absolutely stink from being soaked in rainwater for who knows how long. So, I'll start with what I can. A deep clean, bleaching the black mould, acetoning, and then coating every inch, even the anchor locker and the bilge, with a 2-part marine paint, which is pretty indestructible, and it wants to be at that price. It's a massive job, but the improvement is immediate, and the smell is dramatically improved. Next up is another job I can do, seeing as I've got no electrical or mechanical know-how, cleaning the squabs. Thanks for the Bissell, Helen. Turns out it took 3 rounds. Since musty smells don't disappear easily, the water was black. It was so grim. Every day so far since owning the boat, we've visited it and worked on it at some point. One evening, while it was raining, it became clear that the boat had a lot of leaks. Rainwater was coming through pretty much 70% of the external fittings, which, as we now realise, have been causing most of the musty smell. So on we went with a blue reminder tape mission and added some more jobs to the list. We then went ahead and sealed all external fittings with a sealant called 4000 UV by a company called 3M. And I'd say we rectified about 50 to 60% of the leaks. Over the next few weeks and visits in the rain, the majority of them were stopped, but one or two of them is still an ongoing mystery. True to form of being completely unskilled, I dive into a task that won't make a huge difference to anything substantial and continue to add more lipstick to the pink. I start applying removable white vinyl to the mahogany surfaces to lighten up the interior and give it a fresher, cleaner, more modern look. The idea behind using removable vinyl is that when the next owner comes along, they'll have the option to take it off when they want. Next, I spend what feels like an eternity cutting irregular shapes out of removable tiles and sticking them to the cupboard doors and shelves. I can't even begin to describe how long this job took and how many mistakes I made. Especially annoying when most of them just fell off in the heat in the next few days. But again, I like the finish and I'm pretty pleased with it. On to some more substantial work. The floor's broken around the bilge and it makes a horrible, huge cracking, creaking noise when you walk on it. It also has the horrible, smelly, musty, engine fumey smell that the rest of the boat had. So Jason gets to work on repairing it. He then uses epoxy to reinforce it, and once it's dry, he sands it down, and this will also stop the smell from escaping. I can't explain how grateful I am to Jason for doing all of this work. He knows how to do everything. There's not one thing that he hasn't been able to do, and it's taken so much of his free time. Whilst he's working in the area, Jason also cleans out the bilge. This keeps filling with water and we've got no idea where it's coming from. It's quite dirty and it has an oily film as well. You'll be pleased to hear that later in the process, the bilge also gets a coat of 2-pack marine paint, true super yacht style. Jason is quite the perfectionist. For any non-boaty people, the bilge is the lowest part of the boat's interior, located beneath the hull. And it's where water that leaks into the boat or accumulates from other sources like rain, condensation or seawater collects. The bilge typically holds this water until it can be pumped out using a bilge pump. Several weeks in now and the light at the end of the tunnel still feels out of reach. While we've made some solid progress on improving how the boat looks and smells, the major issues, mechanical, electrical and plumbing, are still very much at the forefront of our minds and my pocket. We take our dinner to the boat to enjoy in the sun out the back before getting back into some more work. It's such a lovely, peaceful, small marina. Join us in our next video as we make more progress, survive some more near breakups and hopefully get closer to using the boat.